It was a very boring and non-drama filled week for all of us. I'm absolutely not banned on Twitter for suggesting that a absolute disgusting human being get throat punched. And Vince McMahon, with Vince McMahon, I just like how specific I was about it.
Yes, that's why I laughed. That was very specific.
Just very much a. And Vince McMahon never did anything wrong. No, all of those things are false. I'm absolutely banned for telling some shithead I wanted to throat punch him. And Vince McMahon, I don't know if you know this, folks. He's a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And he got worse. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the whole crowd here. The only one we're missing is Dean and Mark, but we know how that went. Love you, but you know how that went. Derek's here. Omega Squad is here. And, of course, Craig and I are here. The intros are done. So we're moving on. Anyway, good night, everybody. Nothing happening. No, so let me get this out of the way because it is my show and I just want to get personal. I'm not going to name him. He's been mentioned on the show before by Derek, who triggered me with it because I'm like, oh, that son of a bitch. That high-voiced dweeb that... Listen, there's a difference between you not remembering something happened and it not happening. And a couple years ago, you were okay with women athletes and wrestlers being accosted. By the way, nobody knows what that word means, apparently. Accosted is a hard word. Outside of wrestling events or live events or sporting events. And I told you as much, and you blocked me. Well, you unblocked me because I said we should watch out for you. That tweet's still up, but the one where I wanted to cane punch you in the throat, that's gone. Meant every word of it. You can look me up in Google and pull up. Anyway, if I get beat up by a skinny, the worst has happened. I fell on the steps this week. That was probably more painful. I saved the dog.
There you go.
I tucked him in like a football, took the brunt of it. There's no more bruises. Well, yeah, a little bit. That was what was on my stairs. It's now embedded in my arm and slowly coming off. Let's talk about the important stuff. We're going to start with crap and end with happy because there's a lot of good stuff that happened even after Rumble, which apparently was not very good anyway. I don't know what I'm supposed to like. I don't know what's going on anymore, guys. I'm going to flip a coin in my head. Chris, you first. So you come from a executive, very professional, very similar office environment. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like,
a corporate environment. Is that what
corporate environment? Yes. So I don't even know how to present this other than how in the world after all this comes out and everything that was known was he still allowed to be there? And I'm talking about Vince McMahon. If you don't know, there is a 61-page. If anybody doesn't know what rock, please lift it off your head. There's a 61-page court report about basically sex trafficking. One person. I'm laughing. I'm not laughing at the situation. Like it's so it just makes me uncomfortable because I read it.
Me too.
Yeah, sorry guys. And the text. If you didn't read it, don't. And trigger warning, and I mean that genuinely for anyone who has dealt with or has been around dealing with sexual assault, rape, something like that, anything traumatic like that. We're going to go not detailing it because but that's what we're about to talk about. Hey, Vince McMahon's a piece of shit, Chris. How the hell was he still there? Especially if they knew about it.
I mean, it's pretty much, the golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rules. And that's what it comes down to. That the reason why Vince McMahon got away with it is he was a powerful man. He owned the company and he could pay to make people stay quiet. Ironically, the reason he's getting sued is because he didn't pay to keep someone alive.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's because the lawsuit is just to like, because he breached the terms of the NDA. So didn't pay his $3 million or whatever. So she sued, and now it's all out. And now,
man, if only there was some deal or some way that money was coming into him before he retired, where he
I know
could have paid that off.
if he had just sold WWE earlier,
yeah,
before all this had come out for
who knew?
several $1 billion, that it would have been all right. But yeah, this is. Yeah, I mean, this is just it is the story of corporate overlay. I mean, it is very similar to the Harvey Weinsteins and the other similar stories we have heard of the rich and powerful can pretty much do what they want, and pretty much get away with it. And and particularly in WWE where Vince had all the power. Vince ruled the roost, and I think we can probably all tell stories about not sex trafficking, but just any kind of speaking out against Vince over the years that people didn't want to speak up, and were afraid to speak up because they were going to lose their job, or they were going to lose their reputation, or they're going to be ruined or blacklisted or whatever. This is just it is a symptom of corporate America and capitalism in a way. There's no real great way around it. It's just something that we know happens, and we should call it out, and we should deal with it at a time. Hopefully more people will be braver enough to speak out about it. And that's really the failure here, is like people who knew were afraid to speak out or didn't speak out for some reason. Now, who knows what? Who knows how much? I don't know. But at the end of the day, it's a bad situation. And realistically, this was the only way this could have ended. I mean, this was the only way that Vince McMahon was going to get out of this, was going to like leave WWE for probably for good. I assume for good this time.
Oh, he better. That better be it.
Yeah, I cannot see a path back.
Okay.
Although, as far as I know, I did have a brief conversation with Ryan Jones on Twitter that he still owns a bunch of shares, man. He still owns I think 11% of the company. He's still gonna earn money. He's still a major shareholder. He doesn't just go away from that perspective. He goes away from controlling management, executive leadership, things like that, but he's still a shareholder. He's still gonna profit from WWE and UFC going forward. So he's not completely gone, but for all intents and purposes, he's out. In all the meaningful ways.
Well, yeah, Mr. McDonald and Pup.
The funny part is that this one woman was only $3 million of the $14 million he had in settlement money. So there could be others who come out. There's $11 million other dollars in settlement money that he put out there that he could that could come back to bite him. And it's funny because, like we said, all he had to do was keep paying. Like, his cockiness was so, all he had to do was just keep paying the money, and this would have never came out. And the fact that he just paid the woman $1 million was like, all right, well, I'm done with you now. Do whatever you want. Shows you how I don't want to say stubborn, but how much of a piece of shit he is. And
no, he's not stupid. He is a piece of shit.
Yeah, that's all it is. And I remember when they voted him in. When they all merged, I remember some people was like, "See, Derek, Vince is back in control." And in my mind, I thought he's not going to make it a year, just because all this stuff, that stuff doesn't go away. So I figured they would vote him out in a vote of no confidence, but I guess they let him resign so he could save a little bit of face.
No, he had a clause in the merger agreement that said he could not be fired from that position.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
He would have to resign or die.
Yeah.
So,
when word got out and he was still in, I remember I said to Tamara, I go, look, they're gonna have to start losing money. Like, somebody's gonna have to threaten to pull out in order for him to leave. And then lo and behold, Slim Jim You know, like I said, the ghost of Macho Man is smiling down on all of us. But Slim Jim, Slim Jim pulled out, and I said he's going to be gone because that's the first domino.
It
If
wasn't
Slim Jim
even
was
24 hours, Derek. He was
yeah,
out.
because I figured if Slim Jim pulls out, everybody else is going to pull out, and TKO doesn't want these problems. And I think the best thing is they said that Ari from TKO, he wants to get rid of anybody that's connected to Vince at this point. So if I'm Michael Hayes, if I'm Bruce Pritchard, I would be looking over my shoulder because you might be next.
I'm glad you said that. And then Craig, go off after this mini rant, which might not be so many. This is what I'm worried about. And when I say that, please know, whoever's listening, that's not the important part of it. And I don't give a shit. But I just got chills thinking about this, not good chills. So Pritchard, Hayes, Brock, who was named, Stephanie. These are assumptions, by the way, allegations. Is that the right word, Chris? You're the word. Yeah.
Allegations.
Trips. I don't care. And the only reason why I am making this a point is because I, air quotes, it's not affecting me in that way. As Flyers fans, we're dealing with this literally at the same time where our goaltender, and I've known about it for at least a year and a half because of whispers and rumors. So God only knows who else, where Carter Hart allegedly, air quotes, was involved in a gang rape with other junior hockey players on Team Canada after they won in 2018. Yeah, Jesus is a good word for it, Derek. I really didn't know how else to put that. Well, that is what happened. And they have been sent home or asked for a leave of absence from the teams because of mental health. A week later, they were charged by Canadian police for this thing. So my point is general managers, coaches, other players have known, and he has known, that this was coming down the line. Here we are, still playing him like nothing's going on, as if an investigation wasn't going to catch up with him in the ass eventually. And the same thing is happening right before our very eyes. Here's where the rant's coming in, fellas. With the Vince McMahon situation. When he came back, who left right away? Stephanie was like, I'm out of here. I'm not going to be involved with him. And I'm assuming there were family get-togethers where his grandchildren were around him. That's an assumption. Part of me is hoping, not that this is going to make it better, that they were like, fuck him. I'm not bringing my kids anywhere around this prick anymore. Shane knew about it, allegedly, and tried to convince him to stop and was asked to be part of it and refused every time. And then he left. All of these people knew and just went on, which was my point with Fuckhead in New York about being allowed to stay and hover around. By the way, from a YouTuber, air quotes, nobody watches, whoever that schmuck was that told me he was in the business, being on YouTube doesn't mean you're in the business. When you can stand next to me and hold a microphone in the ring, we'll talk about being in the business. And that's barely. You have all these people who do and just went about their day every day for God only knows how long. And that's on top of what we know, which is raping a referee, covering up Snuka's murder.
Mm-hmm.
Owen Hart. Yes, Owen Hart, putting that on him and continuing the show. And if anybody wants to debate me and stop me, please do. And I mean that not, without irony or sarcasm. All this
Melanie
other
Pillman.
stuff.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All that stuff. And they're like, well, it's money. And I'm not singling anybody out because I did not just see one person saying this. And I'm getting this out of the way now because I see, well, it's alleged and we don't know. There was hush money given.
Exactly.
And as you pointed out, was it Derek or Krista just pointed out, this was only 3 of the 14 million of hush money that was given out. No, I'm sure it's fine. He didn't do anything. This motherfucker has gotten away with all of this shit because of this money for years, and it's finally caught up with him. He's 78. I don't know. Who fucking cares?
He's old, yeah.
He's old, and hopefully he's on the other side soon. Don't care if that upsets anybody. I am so fucking sick to death, personally, of being a fan of something where people do not give a shit to let these people keep going. I'm fucking tired of it. And this was just a little fucking cherry on top of the shitty Sunday that is shitty people in wrestling. No pun intended. Moose is your TNA champion. Well, that's okay. He didn't beat his wife. What am I? Is any Chris? I know the joke is, Dan. Am I the crazy one here?
No, I mean, you're not. This is, look, I mean,
Greg, you're next. I'm sorry.
Here's the thing about this whole situation. It's like, look, this isn't a criminal thing.
Yeah.
This is a civil case. Everything to this date has been civil. There may be there could be criminal charges depending on how. We do know it's still the federal investigation into the the SEC and that kind of stuff. Something could come out of that from a criminal charge, but most likely that's a fine and like you can never run a company anymore. Which, let's face it, not going to happen now. So, you're not wrong. I mean, I think we would be myopic to think that wrestling is the sole.
No, of course.
Yeah, this isn't the only place that
is what I mean.
This is just.
No, I just mentioned the Flyers.
This is not to excuse it. That doesn't excuse it.
Yeah,
but
no, I know.
It's not just wrestling that this happens too, right? This is a problem in society writ large, mostly.
Craig,
the thing about Vince McMahon is, if anyone would just look at his history of business dealings, when he loses interest in something or anything, he stops paying.
Yep.
That's why that's why he was announced with Stu Hart when he bought Calgary. He was supposed to give Calgary a fee when he bought Calgary and got Brett and Jim Neidhart and the British Bulldogs. And he stopped paying. And he did the same thing when he Black Saturday with that NWA time slot. He was going to give them original programming and pay the fee. And what did he do? He showed the same shit that people up here in Philly saw every week, and he reneged on his deal. That's what he does. That's what he's always done that with all of his business dealings. He'll stop paying. He'll make a deal, even have it in writing. I'll pay you this amount of money, and nope. Then once he loses interest, he'll stop. So yeah, he made in theory that yes, I'll pay you $14 million. You sign this NDA, and I can keep doing this reprehensible shit to you as long as you keep quiet. And if she signed it, she was amenable to it, but then all of a sudden it's $3 million. You kept paying. Who knows how long this would have gone? Which doesn't make it right or anything, but that's who he is. And he's always been that person. It's the amazing flood of stuff that's coming out on social media, especially on Twitter. You probably can't see it this week, Dan,
Oh, I can see it. I just can't reply to it.
But all of the depraved skits that he did with Trish and with Sable and with this and that, and Lita coming out and saying how she didn't want to do the live sex show, but Vince like insisted on it. Or
Do it anyway, Pally.
having Stephanie make out with Kurt Angle, and Vince is in the room.
Yeah.
Watching, he's supervising this. So all this depraved shit is coming out. So that part of Vince McMahon, we all knew that, you know, how he sees women, or how, especially how he sees, you know,
we always knew he was a dirty old man.
yes. The woman he works for. What's most distressing to me, Chris, is that this is just because this woman, Janelle, kept texts. So we had dates and times when this happened. This is just her. And these are just the ones that are just going public. Who knows how many texts they were in private to however many people. And what I don't want to touch on, but it has to be brought up at some point, this is a woman that he saw in his building, that was a mercy. He just gave her a job to do basically nothing, and we find out why he gave her a job, so he could, you know, pimp her out.
Yeah.
Is this something he ever? Are we thinking? Are we even contemplating that he never did this with any talent, with any female talent?
Man, I'm trying not to.
Exactly.
There's the Ashley Massaro stuff that she talked about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and don't even get that started because she's gone now.
Yeah.
And nobody listened because
WWE. The female referee, the first female referee they had.
Yeah, the one I mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is who he is. He's always been this person. I don't know why he's gotten worse since he's turned 70 or in his 70s, because all this took place pre-COVID or just like right after COVID, 2021.
2021, yeah.
So he's 74. He was 74 then, 75 then.
Well, at which point did him and Linda just basically drift apart? You know?
Yeah, because they've lived on separate parts of the country.
I can't imagine why Linda and Vince would drift apart.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, shocking, isn't it? But
I can't imagine why Shane, who's got, you know, who was the first with wife and kids, wanted nothing to do with this.
Yeah, just disappeared. Yeah,
altogether.
Yeah.
And you mentioned it before. Stephanie left when Vince was there. Then when Vince was ousted, Stephanie came back. And when Vince exercised his 51% stake in the company and came back, what do you know? Steph left again because
she left twice. That's the
left
your
twice.
point. Yeah.
The big question we have to ask ourselves, gentlemen, and that's something we're probably it's gonna take years to find out: who knew what when? That's the only issue. Who knew what, and when did they know it? So you look at the McMahon crew, you know, and you know, Kevin Dunn's leaving was kind of, you know, precipitous. That was kind of odd timing.
Bye, motherfucker, by the way.
True, but it was just kind of odd that now all of a sudden he decides to take a powder. But yeah, you look at Pritchard, at Hayes, Gurria, who else? Who knew what when? And if the board of TKO, this is the first time in the we're going on 61-year history of the WWF that no McMahon is part of the company. There's 0 McMahons in there. It's the first time ever. So if anyone in part of the McMahon tree, are they susceptible as well? You don't know how long Bruce Pritchard has or how much stroke Triple H has. He's not a McMahon, and he's still head of creative. I know you're winking, Chris. It does that.
I mean, I would have a hard time arguing this one in the court. You know, that he's not connected.
Okay, but I mean, connected, yes, but how do you think he knows anything?
I don't want to think he does, but I think I mean, I have a
Yeah.
hard time believing that he doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah. I think
And
I think they knew, and then when Nick Khan came in, he
Uh-huh.
found out some of this stuff, and he's the one that leaked all this stuff. Because him being an agent from Hollywood, he probably realized, look, we have to get rid of this guy, and he has all this power, and the only way you can get rid of him is if we leak stuff. I think Nick Khan's probably the one who leaked all the stuff to the news
to the
outlets
SEC,
to get
yeah.
to get Vince out of there. I could see them telling him the stories, and he's like, "Oh my God, you guys have been dealing with this for all these years. We got to get rid of him." And that was the best way to get rid of him. That's what I think.
Oh yeah, with D-Mac, you think it's Nick? I think it was Steph.
That's the other thing. Yeah, that she just finally had enough.
It could be either. And ultimately it ends up doesn't matter at the end of the day who leaked or how this came about. The question I have now is what happens next to kind of to play off of your point, Craig.
Mhm.
I assume more heads will roll. I have to assume that. You say Bruce Pritchard's probably gone. But to the extent that this actually hurts people that we probably had at least before this time considered like we actually like these guys. We like like the direction Triple H is going. We like Shawn Michaels. We like anybody in a management position there that knows something that we're maybe have some childhood connection to. I gotta believe heads are gonna roll, and I gotta believe that TK. It's gonna be a new company. Like
Yeah.
it's already a new company. It's gonna be a new company. I think Ari Emanuel is gonna come in and he's gonna like tighten the reins and he's gonna tell Nick Khan like you were gonna keep this thing in this lane right here, and I don't want it to come off anywhere near that, or there will be hell to pay. I guarantee that's gonna happen.
Yep.
We'll never hear about it, but that's what's going to happen. It's going to be an interesting call. I don't know if it's the call is tomorrow or next week, but the next earnings call is going to be interesting.
Yeah. The ironic part is the company's never been more successful.
I know. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. It's pretty much in the best position it's been in from a financial standpoint, from a media standpoint. I mean, the Netflix deal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
$2 billion.
Netflix deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
And
coming out.
yeah.
The Peacock deal. Still
Mhm.
got SmackDown on USA, the CW, and they still have to figure out where they're putting the pay-per-views.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're the Saudi deal. They're making money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The company. Vince is a piece of shit, but the one thing he did was sell probably the peak of his
Yep.
earning power. He
Yeah.
sold the company at the right time.
Yes.
Yeah. And I find myself because it's like, all right, Brock was involved. And then I automatically start thinking, well, who else is really close to Vince? And I start thinking, you start thinking about all these wrestlers you grew up loving, like, oh, not Taker. Because Taker's like his guy. Even when he had the first allegations against him a year ago, Taker kind of stood by him. And I'm like, well, what if he gets caught up in this allegedly and this guy and that guy? And it could,
Oh
like you
no,
said,
what
it
a
could
shame.
be I
Well,
know,
I found it interesting they opened the Rumble with Hogan.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Where's this love affair for Hulk Hogan? Like, why isn't Ari upset about this love affair with Hulk Hogan? I don't understand. I don't care how many years it's been of Hulkamania. Why is that okay?
I don't get it.
I
never will get it.
I never mind. Fuck Hulk Hogan. I'm so
Yes,
sad. I saw a
yes.
tweet the other day where somebody was like, "Yeah, I loved him before." No, and
No.
it's on record,
No.
bitch.
Nope.
Like,
Nope. I've
nope.
never been a Hogan guy.
No, fuck you. And the fact that you know what I think of often, Derek. I
Mhm.
think of the N bomb from Booker T, and him having to apologize.
Yeah. Yeah, to that guy.
Mhm.
To that
Motherfucker,
guy.
what? You
And
pale bitch.
in hindsight, if you think about it, Bret Hart was right about all these people. It took
Yeah, he
some
was.
It took some decades, but Bret was 1,000% correct.
I
And a lot of
fucking
people
told
owe
you.
Bret an apology. Hogan and Vince, America
I
as a
made-
whole.
I made the joke. Yeah, well, especially the comment about Pittsburgh. I made a joke to Kelly the other night because there was a video that Inside the Ropes did with Brett about who he thinks is good and not good in wrestling today, and I jokingly throw out there, every one of them that's not me is a piece of shit, and I was like, oh shit, they are.
Yeah.
How do anybody raise your hand if you've read Bret Hart's book?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I have.
Well, I know Craig has read it. Chris, did you read Bret's book?
No, I didn't.
He's a piece of shit too.
Mhm,
And I mean that every opportunity that was presented where he could fall inside of another vagina, he did.
Yep.
And he was very open about it and was very much, who cares? He's like, well, I kind of, sorry, oops. And I'm like, right. But when you're drawing the line in wrestling, he's up here, and apparently everybody else is down here because Bret, as you said there, everybody's like, he's a fucking asshole. And I'm like, shit, it is the Canadian dude. What a pain in the ass. And now when I don't know when I'll watch any of his matches again, Vinnie Mac, I mean that sarcastically, but every chair shot Bret gave him, that was it. What WrestleMania was that now? 28, 29?
It was one of those. I think it was 28, something like that. Yeah.
Every little extra chair shot that had a little umph to it. I'm like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's some receipts there.
Yeah.
Who else knew? What about all of those? Who was I? I said I didn't want to mention Cornette in this context because quite frankly, what he said was really fucking stupid, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Even if it was wrapped up in a fuck Vince McMahon thing for this, never mind. But
What?
no. I'm gonna get to. I was gonna go on a rant, but I'm like, it's not about him. But I always think about that story since you mentioned Kevin Dunn, Craig. I always think about that story he told where he is trying to figure out, and of course I remember it because I can remember Bucky Beaver, where he's trying to fix how we're gonna wrap around the Patriot to do this and something, and they're just talking about Sable or whoever the fuck with the blonde hair and the big tits, and Craig finally just and that was me talking it from their perspective, not me saying it, and then Chris or Jim finally just goes, well, I'm still sitting here wondering what we're gonna do about the fucking Patriot thing, and then fuckface McGee edit fuckhead goes, Jim, I find you tiresome. And then Cornette did he shot on a real promo on Kevin, and I've been on the fuck Kevin Dunn train for like 7 years, so I don't trust that guy either. And that's profiling because of the way he looks. And I don't care. Because we mentioned it last time I ranted, which is one of my favorite edits. Did anybody notice the Royal Rumble was easier to watch this weekend?
Yes.
Well, have you noticed? And that was the other thing about why the WWE is even more successful now. Getting rid of Kevin Dunn has made it even more successful now because it actually looks like a sporting event. You see the athletes coming into the arena, the camera shots, the wide lenses, the less than frenetic, cuts to everything. It looks like a more professional sporting event.
We only missed 2 people getting eliminated versus 20 of the 30.
And something as small as when somebody's been in the Rumble the longest, they put the timer on top in a little part of the corner.
That was
something
a
as
nice
small
touch.
as that. Yeah, just little small things.
It's almost as if the old white dudes were a bit antiquated. Being an older white dude.
I was gonna say, wait a minute.
No, I know. Dude, I know. That's like somebody saying you're just a YouTuber. It's just like, but you're a nobody YouTuber. I know that. Do you know that? Because I don't think we're not the same in that way. I know nobody's watching this. I pay attention, but I do know somebody watches because I will get comments or somebody going, ban him. I have a high voice. Sorry, your balls didn't drop. It's not my fault. Fucking old guy. JD. So does it affect your viewing of the product? I've been on the way. I've been postponing and trying to hold back my on the way out for a while now. And this is unfortunate that it happened right at Royal Rumble because I was just like, oh, I ain't what? Oh, it's Rumble. Shit. I'm like, well,
but it's the Rumble.
it's
Like that.
I was like, well, oh, great. What am what do you do?
Yeah.
You tell me.
Well, like,
Go ahead.
I said it on Twitter. I mean, look, you can't get away from Vince for now. You can't get away from it. But there's a number of people within WWE that still can be supported. Performers in number one in that category, plus all the staff who support them. So supporting WWE, at least now, especially now that Vince is only a small shareholder, I can get past it. Like, I mean, I get it. Like, and I'm not going to begrudge anybody that says I can no longer watch this product now. I understand.
Yeah.
You are well within your rights to feel that way. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, this is one bad apple.
Mhm.
I mean, there's other bad apples, but as we've just been talking about, but there's a limited number of bad apples. And there's a number of people who make their living in this company and support their families that way. So I think I personally didn't have a problem. I said so on Twitter this weekend. Like, you should watch Rumble. You should enjoy it. You should support the performers and
buy their merch.
Buy their merch. We'll acknowledge that bad things happened and there are bad people that should be held accountable for it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's not anybody who was in the ring's fault, I don't think, this weekend. So.
Yeah, I don't think so. Maybe
I
it was Hogan was at the top, so I hope that's what's the word I'm looking for?
Presumably Jordynne Grace had nothing to do with it.
Presumably, yeah, I don't think she did. I don't think she did. We'll talk about that in a second because, like I said, we're ending with the good shit. Craig, I think I know your answer, but I just wanted your 2 cents on it.
On what? The Rumble?
Are you still watching? Like, is it affecting your viewing? Is it making you think twice? I think I know your answer, but I just,
no, it doesn't. It hasn't. Because like Chris so eloquently said, and you've alluded to, it's not everyone in the ring's fault. But that the boss was a piece of shit. There've been plenty of piece of shit bosses in wrestling, and the wrestling's been sublime. And as far as the Rumble goes, I enjoyed it. I was surprised that so many people on Twitter, especially, said it was boring. I guess it was because we are most of wrestling fans, including myself, were expecting some big surprise returns or surprise announcements, and we didn't get any outside of Andrade and Naomi.
Hold that thought.
Holding.
Just real quick, and then I'll go right back to you, Derek.
Mm-hmm.
You're still gonna watch? We're still on the same train.
the joy I get out of watching it, if there's any joy, is knowing that there are people in the ring who are being successful, who, if Vince and Kevin Dunn were there, it would piss them off. So seeing Gunther be the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time, seeing Ciampa and Gargano have great tag team matches, knowing Vince hates tag team wrestling, like seeing stuff like that kind of warms my heart. Like, okay, well, at least I know the old bastard's probably somewhere destroying his room.
Did you see the reaction that Trick got on SmackDown last Friday?
Yes.
Never would have happened under the previous regime.
No, at all. So those type of things warm my heart. And, but then you turn on AEW television, I have to see Ric Flair beating up Powerhouse Hobbs, and it's like, oh,
You
you know.
fucking
So
what?
yeah, they had him chopping Hobbs like I think it was like a week or two ago. He's in the ring, and I was just like, of all the people involved in this match, you put him in the ring with Hobbs and had him chop Hobbs, and I was like, if Teddy Long could get away with it, boy, I tell you, if Teddy Long knew he could get away with it and keep his job, this world would be a different place.
Did he sell it?
Yeah, he poked him in the eye. Like he
Yeah.
poked, you know, so,
Fuck's sake.
and I was just like, oh,
That
so
man's chest is bigger than Vince's entire fucking body.
he should have just blew Ric Flair away.
Start there and work your way forward.
Well, that wasn't even the worst part of that match
Oh,
because
it wasn't?
no, because with Sting and Darby, we're going to that same match. We're going to talk about Sting's last match, and it's going to be a tag team match in Carolina, in South Carolina. So of course the Bucks come out.
Oh,
Mhm.
for our
They didn't want
fuck's sake!
That was the worst part. That was worse than Flair chopping Hobbs and Hobbs
Yeah.
having to sell it.
And the Bucks have, I like to call the Vince McMahon pencil thin mustache. Like that's part of their presentation now.
Well,
No,
because
look good.
they list,
Twirl it a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they look like a couple of, God, what's the name? Never mind.
Cunts.
Yeah, that. But I mean, how they weaseled themselves into to Sting's last match, and everyone say, well, Sting picked them. If
I
you're,
don't give a fuck who he... Sorry, Craig.
I agree, Dan, completely on your side. If you're going to have Sting's last match ever in the Carolinas, and to be a tag team match, obviously to hide, his what he can't do, and have Darby do everything and bump like a Super Bowl, why not FTR? Why
That's
not the
exactly what I said.
team you have in your company who happens to be from Carolina
From the
anyway,
Carolinas.
who grew up in being Sting fans? Bring back Tully and or Arn, be in their corner with Flair in Sting's corner, have a mini Horseman reunion. Again, the show's already sold out.
Yeah.
It was sold out when they announced it was Sting's last match ever. So the Bucks being in there, you can't tell me, yeah, Sting picked them. If you're Tony Khan, say, yeah, well, no, let's go.
Yeah. Tony Khan being not the boss again, which we talked about ad nauseum here 4,000 times. He's walking around and go, I don't give a fuck if you're picking. That's really nice, Mr. Borden. I don't fucking want that match. Jesus.
How about a match that will actually sell, that actually will get people to watch?
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's already sold out. They're only sell out they have all year.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen in August. They're promoting the Wembley show in August now. That's how bad it is in AEW. When you have to talk about August shows because of what you did last year. When last year you had the biggest star you ever had in that company, who's now the biggest star in the other company, and we'll talk about that in a second. But that's the difference between one show and the other, because the other has stars upon stars upon stars, and AEW thinks that the stars they have are bigger than they are, because they're guys that Tony likes. Tony's ideas of stars are Orange Cassidy and Daniel Garcia, not guys that can actually draw you money like a Ricky Starks or a Powerhouse Hobbs. Or a ready-made star that you could have made your number one babyface based on the real-life tragedy, like Mark Briscoe, who should be on TV every week, or at least doing a promo every week. The biggest star you have is on the shelf. That's when you need to make new stars or get guys that you can promote the right way, again, that can draw you money, like a Miro or even a Takeshita. Who looks like a star. That's what I'm saying. These guys they look like somebody that they can kick somebody's ass. The best analogy I had of how bad it is in AEW, and I have to borrow a line from Jim Cornette. You had FTR teaming up with Daniel Garcia in a 6-man match against the House of Black. And not only do they lose, but Dax gets pinned.
Yeah.
That's like having the Road Warriors team up with the Brooklyn Brawler and they pin Animal.
to I saw Meltzer was talking about it, and Meltzer goes, "You have them lose to guys who you know as soon as their contract up, they're going back to WWE. So why don't you just beat these guys until it's time for them to leave?"
Exactly.
I am so enraged right now. I am such a little triggered boy right now.
And then you got the AEW fans. They're mad at poor Ricky Starks because he did an interview a couple days ago, and they asked him who he talks to backstage. And he goes, "There's nobody for me to talk to." He goes, "If I can catch Danielson, I'll talk to Danielson, but he's not around all the time."
Yeah,
There's a
Because they got rid of
shocker.
all the vets. All the vets
Yeah.
are going. You ran Tully out the company. You ran Arn out the company. You ran William Regal out the company.
Yeah, and did you see the video of Punk before the Rumble in the ring with those NXT guys, with Carmelo Hayes, with Trick, with
Yeah,
Brian Pillman Jr.
yeah,
And you can see the look on his face, how happy he was. He
he's so
couldn't do
happy.
that shit in AEW
He was so happy.
because nobody would listen to him. Starks did, and
Yeah.
Hobbs did.
Yeah,
He could have done it with those, but that's why Starks got no one to talk to, because Punk left. He's the only veteran, the only guy that actually knows what the fuck he's talking about, and he can go to an advice for how to get over and how to
Yeah.
draw money or even to get heat. But no, everybody in AEW, oh, we don't need to listen to the vets. We don't need to listen to guys that have made more money in this business than I'll ever see in my lifetime.
Yeah, we sell T-shirts at ProWrestlingTees.com.
Yeah.
Now fuck them too.
Mercedes, please stay away. Oh, Mercedes, don't go there, please.
Now,
Don't
see,
go.
I was not upset, but I was surprised she didn't come out for the Rumble. For the Rumble, the only ones I was disappointed in not seeing was I guess Sasha and AJ.
Yeah,
I thought AJ Lee would be back.
and I'm happy for Naomi. I'm happy for her because
Yes.
Laurinaitis treated her and Sasha like crap, and now she's back. So good for Naomi.
Oh yeah,
too.
speaking of Laurinaitis and this whole thing,
Oh, that guy.
you fucked up so bad that you had the Bella Twins Twitter put out a statement.
Yeah,
Because
they
you
had to put out a
married their
statement.
fucking mom.
Mm.
You piece of shit.
And he did all the shit. If you look at the date of the text, when the Bella's mom was in hospital with cancer.
Yeah, when she was
That's when
fighting
he was
cancer.
doing all that.
Ugh. Wrestling is such a dirty business, boy.
It kind of made me wish when they were getting booed in Philadelphia as the dynamic dudes that one of, you know how Philadelphia, and I know Craig, Derek, you like to mention it all the time, you son of a bitch. The Philly fans are terrible. And I kind of wish that our legacy, instead of it being Santa Claus, which that guy was an asshole and he was a drunk prick and he's lucky he lived that day. Just
That's
want
what
to
my
point
dad
that
says.
out.
My dad goes, he deserved to
Motherfuckers.
get hit. My dad
He
goes,
deserved to get hit.
To get attacked.
He's lucky that's all that happened to him.
Derek,
Thank
my
you,
dad,
Dad.
Derek, my dad was there at Franklin Field. He was a fireman, and he was getting extra money being security. So he was there. He was at that game. And,
I wish in the Civic Center when the dynamic dudes or whatever the fuck they were called came out of their little stupid skateboards, that somebody in the Philadelphia audience ran over the guardrail rail, picked up the skateboard and just shoved it in Laurinaitis' ass, and he died from rectal bleeding right there on the ramp.
Jesus Christ.
Fuck him. It would have ended 30 years of problems, Derek.
Well, you know what did happen when the dynamic dudes were there in Philly against the Midnight Express?
They got booed. Building.
They got booed out of the building.
That's what I'm saying. They were that close to just wood skateboard right up the ass. Fuck you, John. Piece of shit. Now I had to deal with you as GM. Now I gotta. Yeah. Fuck. You reprehensible piece of shit. Let's get to the happy before I rage again, which I know is entertaining as hell. I see you all laughing, and I'm glad you're entertained. But deep down, you're like, at least I don't mean this as I am the one that could say things that nobody else could say. I know you're like, yeah, I know. Yeah, the skateboard would have been nice. No lube. To piggyback onto what Craig said about not seeing Sasha and AJ, I forgot about both of them when Jordynne Grace came out.
Yeah.
And I will compare this in this way. Big Mama Pump, which is one of my favorite nicknames, to the moment that Sting debuted in the WWE, because Craig knew, everybody else knew he was coming. And when his music played, I remember, everybody here knows that's my guy. I had to watch it a second time because I was like, what? Is this happening? Kelly? Am I alive? Is this real? Let me rewind that. Oh shit, he did it. Oh, and he missed the hard cam. God damn it. But the same thing kind of happened because the timer went down and the sirens played. And in my head, I said, it sounds like Jordynne Grace. And then I read the banner, the ribbon on the ring, and it said, I could see Jordynne Grace. And I'm like, is that Jordynne? And all you hear upstairs is me yell, what? I popped like that. I was like, I can't believe I'm seeing this. And then it kind of was a double hit because once again, Kevin and Dick Big Fuck is gone. They immediately said TNA Knockout Champion. I'm like, 2 days later, they're like TNA, 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 TNA.
Yeah.
I was great, and she looked like Derek. Did you say she looked like she belonged, right?
Yeah, she looked like she deserved to be in the ring with all those women. When she was in there with Bianca, she looked like, yeah, I believe she should be in there with Bianca. And if I'm TNA, and she mentioned on Twitter that this isn't the last time the WWE Universe will see TNA. If I'm TNA, they built up the good graces again. I try to form some type of partnership with WWE, because that, I don't care what anybody says, that AEW partnership did no good for them. It did nothing for them at all. And see if you can switch talent, whether it's some of the young people in TNA, like a Breaker, like a Williams, like a Hayes, Tiffany Stratton, or you can go up to the main roster and get some of those women who aren't doing anything. Liv is back. Liv's not doing anything. I don't need to see Moose on a WWE TV show.
No,
but it would help them, and it seems like Triple H is more open to this now. So let's hope it leads to something good. But she looked like whenever her contract is up, I would not be surprised if they throw all the cash in the world at her, because she looks like what they look for in a woman.
I'm just I'm so proud that I've been saying, don't laugh at me. I've been saying for years, watch her, watch. Here, I finally got one right, folks. Watch. Here it's coming. It's coming. I'm telling you, there's no reason she shouldn't be on TV right now.
Yeah.
Craig, did you see what I saw?
I did see what you saw. Okay. I do see what you see, Warren
G.
G.
Omega, did you see what I saw?
I thought she did really well. I mean,
and I thought she was going to be out in 5 minutes, Crit, since she was like 45 minutes or something like that.
Right. I mean, I mean, obviously this happened a couple years ago when Mickey came in with the TNA title,
or something. One or two.
So I mean, but everybody knew Mickey. Mickey was a WWE product. That was no shock. But having actually the TNA Knockouts champion was someone who was not in WWE was really interesting, and she did acquit herself very well. She looked better than a lot of the women in that ring, and lasted a long time. Got a long time to show her skills, and she had a few good spots. Hey, I have no problem with it. I will confess that I have not watched TNA in God knows how long.
I've watched her segments every week.
I know.
Because I will not watch who, but I'm like, next video's up, boom, in. And
but
a few others.
look, I mean, I like it. I mean, I don't know how optimistic I am about the talent that goes back to TNA if that's indeed what happens.
I
mean,
don't care.
Mm.
I don't
I
give
mean,
a shit.
I feel like we're more likely to get like Natty and Baron Corbin going to TNA than like Braun Breaker, for example.
Oh,
But
no.
but you know, like we can hope. We can hope. Really,
Natty and
I mean,
her took a picture together, and I'm like, please have that match.
Yeah, well, that could happen in TNA.
Yeah.
It could happen in WWE, bro.
Sure. I mean, I don't know. I mean, hey, I mean, look at it this way. Given how she performed on the Rumble, there's nothing that says that WWE doesn't buy out her contract.
Yeah. Yeah.
you
TNA
have
could
an
use the money.
you have an opportunity to do what AEW and then 30 years earlier WCW didn't do with New Japan and TNA. We all remember the bottle of tequila.
Ah.
And if you don't look that up. Well, and if you do, look up bottle of tequila, WCW Nitro, Jushin Thunder Liger.
Yeah.
How you fuck
Yeah.
that up? And then what AEW couldn't do because and strap a title on her.
Yeah.
And whoever the TNA champion is, even though it's you know.
And like I said, it can't be in words. I think the highlight of the AEW TNA partnership was Omega beat Rich Swann to become champion.
Chris?
Tony Khan, Rich Swann. For some reason, Tony Khan came on TV every week running TNA down, telling them how they were the minor leagues. And then when TNA finally got the belt back in the company, it was because Christian, an AEW wrestler, beat Kenny Omega for the title. So like one of their own guys would even beat Kenny Omega for the title. They got nothing out of that deal at all.
Well, because they don't know how to promote any other brand but theirs. They got nothing out of the Ring of Honor merger outside of a whole lot of belts, but you don't even promote that. I mean, if you really wanted to put Ring of Honor on the map, you could have broadcast the Briscoe brothers matches before they took on FTR.
Before one of them died.
If you really wanted to do it right, when Ronda Rousey came out on a Ring of Honor show, on the Ring of Honor show that she did come out on, saying, I don't give a crap about the AEW Women's Championship. I want the Ring of Honor Women's Championship because that's the only wrestling company that means a damn. That gives you some legitimacy.
My personal feelings on Ronda Rousey's side, which is still less than 90% of the other ones, I'm like, fuck that guy. How did you fuck that up? It's still Ronda Rousey.
Exactly.
She had a hand in it. She had a hand in it. I mean,
yeah.
Did she?
I mean, I hear you, but and she got.
I don't
better,
know. I'm asking you, man.
But she didn't. She wasn't good as a wrestler.
True, but she's got a name, a mainstream name.
She wasn't Steve McMichael.
Oh, Mongo.
And I love Mongo, but
I don't. But
look, I mean, there are mainstream names that do better than others.
Yes.
You know, I mean, Bad Bunny and Logan Paul, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
fair enough.
I mean, I've never watched anything they've ever done, but I can at least say they acquitted themselves fairly well in the ring.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know that I can say that about Ronda. I mean,
I still didn't download that downloadable content because I don't give a shit.
But you don't. But the thing is, you don't have to say that about Ronda. The fact that Ronda Rousey showed up on the AEW show on a Ring of Honor pay-per-view.
Oh yeah.
She could have just legitimized the whole company by saying, "I want the Ring of Honor Women's Championship," because that's the only title that means anything. But
yeah, I mean,
do that.
Look, I mean, it certainly pops. It should have been a bigger news story than it was.
Yes.
Let's face it. I mean, like,
I heard about it for like a day and it went away.
It went away.
Like, well, there you go.
She's like, she showed up for, and then she's
good job, guys.
She went back to her farm and is whatever she's doing.
Yeah, That's every signing. I remember when when Claudio went there, and everybody told me Claudio's going to be this big deal, and now he's in the same spot. And he's in the same spot there. He was in the WWE. I would have preferred him stay, and we could have got Gunther versus Cesaro at one of these shows. But he's just a guy in AEW now.
Well, look what he's done. Look what he did to Miro. First
Yeah.
time he was on the air, he's wearing a Minnie Mouse pink Mickey Mouse shirt, and then playing video games. Look what they've done with Edge.
Yeah,
Yeah,
him and Christian, they mean nothing
Yeah.
now. That means nothing now.
You
What-
gave
I
away
mean-
the only match you had, Edge versus Christian, on free fucking TV.
Outside of Moxley and Jericho, I mean, who else
And
has
who gives
done
a shit
anything?
about Moxley and Jericho?
Yeah, he's done nothing with nobody. Like I said,
I'll give
Mercedes,
you. I'll give you a name AEW can play with.
Okay.
I can hear Craig he's getting ready to throw something at me. Abaddon.
I mean,
They ain't gonna
give
do
her a
shit.
chance. Yeah, I'm about to say,
Ain't
give
gonna
her
do
a
shit.
chance. Nothing else is
Did-
gonna work.
Did
Nothing else.
anybody see? Oh, Chris is laughing at me. I'll get his thoughts in a second. Did anybody see the
I
video?
was more laughing at Craig, so I don't have an opinion on it.
Yeah, I saw the video, Dan. You sent it to me.
She's great talent. She's good in the ring. If they give her more than 4 minutes every fucking night.
Yeah.
And that segment, 3-minute video, was fantastic. And they're not going to even try. I guarantee they're not even going to try. And that's what, like, I was really happy. I was like, that's great. And then I'm like, well, what the fuck are they going to do? Nothing.
They can give it a chance to get over. I mean, imagine if they wouldn't. If you would have wrote this R-Truth, the Judgment Day stuff down on a piece of paper, it would look stupid. But the fans love it. So sometimes you have to like give these things a shot to see how the people react to it. There's no reason why this R-Truth stuff should be over, and it is.
It's the
Derek.
#1 selling shirt in
It's
WWE.com.
great.
Yeah,
Derek, there is a time hop on my stories, and I think it was either a year or 2 or 3 ago. And it was just my story / status update that said, wait, you guys didn't know that Ron Killings is just fucking awesome anyway?
Yeah,
Or something like that. And that was 3 years ago, because I'm like, and I know the the NWA championship was, at the time, it was Tip Storm or something. I don't know how many years ago it was, but I was like, the guy did hold the NWA championship.
Yeah.
This isn't just some schmuck. And I know how that segment might have made some people feel in the Rumble. Holy fucking shit. Him coming out in the women's Rumble.
He was over. Yeah, they loved it.
Not in drag. And then the tag
in.
segment.
Yeah.
That was goddamn funny. And I thought it was done right. It was quick and it was over. And I was laughing my ass off. Craig, please tell me that made you smile at least.
I love the stuff with Truth, because that's what makes it funny. The little Jimmy shit, that was stupid. This is actually funny.
I just love that the other members of Judgment Day are like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. All it took was him giving them money for the t-shirts,
Yeah.
and Finn was
All
like,
right,
okay,
sure.
I like money.
Oh, you know what? I think he's okay.
I like money.
My name's
I
on
like
the
the
t-shirt,
money.
right? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's in the Truth. I heard Truth on Bubba's podcast. Damian Priest fought for him to be part of the Judgment Day, or to make that a thing. And I kudos to Damian Priest for that. What, to me, it kind of, I want to say devalues Judgment Day, but because right now they are the top heel group in WWE, now that the bloodline isn't what it was. But to be a top heel group stable in the WWE, you go from being that to then doing comedy with Truth. It again, I want to say to use the word devalue, but it would be hard to take them seriously as the top heel group.
I mean,
And-
yeah.
Go
I mean,
ahead.
hasn't that been the knock on Judgment Day the entire time, though? For the level of talent that they have, they just don't feel as menacing as they should.
Well, when they all had the belts, they had a good like a brief period there because everyone's got a unique thing. I never bought Finn as a heel. I still don't. Damian is I don't know what the hell they're going to do with that briefcase,
I know.
especially now that the title um picture is all cloudy because of Punk's injury. But you got it's the anti AEW. You got so many stars.
Mm-hmm.
And so even if one goes on the shelf or two of them are hurt, like Punk and Rollins, you still got Cody, you got Roman, you got both Usos, you got Orton, you got LA Knight, you got AJ.
Drew, yeah, all these guys. Yeah.
You just brought up Braun Breaker. You got, and I haven't even mentioned Gunther,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
who I thought was going to win the Rumble. Because you can Ultimate Warrior that guy and have him, since if Seth is really hurt, have Gunther take the belt off Seth, and now you have a real heel champion.
Yeah.
You could say he never lost the Intercontinental title. He can give that up in a tournament. But now you have a bona fide, healthy monster heel champion.
I mean,
And
it
you
could
could still
still
have
happen.
that with him.
It could still happen depending on how Rollins heals, right?
Yes. Yeah, and also we haven't talked about the there's a pay-per-view before WrestleMania in Australia, the Elimination Chamber. That could go a long way to what happens in WrestleMania. The smart money now is Cody versus Seth and Roman versus Rock on both days of WrestleMania. I don't want that. I still think it should be Cody versus Roman. Seth Rollins can call it the working man's title all he wants, but he only got the belt because Reigns wasn't going to be on TV every week.
Yeah, Roman was home. Yeah.
So is he
Yeah.
going to be healed before WrestleMania?
Seth seems to think he can. I
He
think
does.
if he's not, that's the best way to get the belt off him by a big time heel like Gunther.
Yeah.
Because having Cody take it from him, you got two faces. And we've seen, how many times have we seen Cody versus Seth already?
3-4 times. Yeah.
And Cody's won every single time? Why would I care to see it again? Cody versus Roman, that's finishing the story.
Yeah. And
It's
he
ironic.
officially becomes the face of the company at that point.
Yeah. But
Yes.
how long can they go? How long can they wait on that? Like, I feel like it's been 2 years, and it's like, if we get through WrestleMania here and it's not Cody Roman, do we care?
No,
I wouldn't. I
no,
wouldn't.
not by that
Yeah, I
point.
mean,
No.
it's like, so that's the only reason why I'm like, I mean, far be it for me to doubt the smart money, but but it just feels like if you're gonna do this, do it now. You can do Roman Rock anytime. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no magic to WrestleMania for Roman Rock, other than it's the biggest stage. But hey, I always thought they would burn that on the Saudi show.
That's what I thought.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought too.
But SummerSlam's not that far,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah, but you got a 2-night event here in Philly, and you're in Philly all week. So that's what
well,
you got.
it went so well the last time Rock came out with Roman and Philly.
Yeah, you guys showed him a lot of love. Showed him a lot of love.
Man, I was Derek, as Phil Collins is my witness. Happy birthday. And Omega will attest to this. I looked at him and I looked at Dean and then looked around and went, what the fuck? Why?
Why is he here?
Why?
Why is he here?
Well, that, and I was also going, why are you mad at him?
Yeah, he didn't do
He
anything.
didn't do
Yeah.
anything. What? That was
And-
so funny.
And he had this
I was
look
like-
on his face at the end when he's holding his hand up. He has this look on his face like, why?
He did.
What did
Uh,
He did.
Why?
He did the. Fuck's going on here?
Yeah, right. It's me. You guys know it's me, right?
I'm the Rock,
Hey.
you bitches. Fuck you, Philadelphia. I will never forget, and Chris will also. Craig, were you at that Rumble?
Which one?
Was it 14?
The one Roman won. Yeah.
2014.
Yeah,
The
it was
one
like
Roman
14.
won.
In Philly. No, I wasn't there, but
Okay,
yeah,
so it
but
was
I did
me.
watch it. Mm.
It was me, Justin, Dean, and Omega. And there's two things I remember like yesterday. It was DDP's music played. I grabbed Dean's shoulder and screamed, "Oh my god, it's DDP!" And he just
He's
did
here.
not. He no sold the fuck out of that. And the second thing is when Daniel Bryan got eliminated,
Mm,
you
that was
could
it.
feel Derek. This is the only time I'm going to agree with you. You could feel the air go
Yeah.
Yeah, I
right
remember.
into
Yeah.
the rafters, into the old ass fucking Stanley Cup banners. The air went zoom,
I
and
remember that.
oh shit.
Here it comes.
We're not getting out of here alive. Like
Yeah.
ooh. Don't guys, just trips.
Be careful.
Because
Be
it's a big
careful.
place. And you don't want to piss off Travis Kelce. I like that. Everybody likes him now.
All you had to do was take his shirt off. That's all it took.
Yeah, if that was all if a chunky guy had to take his shirt off and that was all it took, hold on. Yeah. We did get two winners that I think were both expected. We got Cody Rhodes for the men, and thankfully, happily for me, we got Bayley for the ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Unless I see it actually happen, I don't believe they're gonna. I'm still nervous about the Cody Rhodes thing. On the writing on the wall should say, no, of course he's gonna win. But then you look at the past, you go, I don't know.
Yeah.
If Bayley doesn't win, I'll be very sad. But I'm just gonna enjoy it because I still think she enjoys being bad.
Yeah,
I don't
but
want it. Saw somebody say there's gonna be a face turn. I'm like, oh no, please don't. Keep it this way.
Yes.
but they're what you see how the rest of Damage Control they're heading for a face turn with Bayley. Bayley's gonna go up against EO for the championship at WrestleMania, and Bayley obviously will be the face, which means we could see at the Lincoln Financial Field the return of the wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man, wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man, wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man.
They're called the Bayley Buddies, Craig.
And I will go on record again saying I don't want to fucking see it.
No. Well, I mean, look. I mean,
I like Bad Bayley. She shows more. Oh,
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I think she's kind of over the hugger thing. So, I mean, I don't know about the two men, but look, I mean, either way, I think I agree with Dan. Like, look, this is great for Bayley. She's going to get the two things she hasn't really accomplished in wrestling yet. She won the Rumble, and she's going to have a singles main event in WrestleMania. Well, I don't know if it's a main event, but it's a singles match at WrestleMania. So that's got to be good. I mean, that's and she's not that old. So
yes.
I mean,
yeah.
So I mean, she's accomplished pretty much what she set out to do. I mean, at least three of the four horsewomen will probably have accomplished pretty much everything at this point.
yes. Yeah, except for that one.
But it could happen with her. Just depends. Just didn't happen this week.
Gentlemen, do we have anything else that anyone wants to cover from Rumble weekend and TV and?
Yeah, there is something because you're here and we didn't get a chance. Derek, your review of Iron Claw.
Oh,
that movie. Jesus Christ.
Oh, that piece of shit.
No. It was so sad because I know the story. You know it's gonna happen, and just to see it like unravel in front of you, it's kind of like, oh. And I think we talked about it before in the chat. The scene where Kerry is like sitting in the boat and all his brothers are like on the dock.
Yeah.
And they're like, come join us. And then his little brother's there and he's like, nice to meet you. It's like, oh my God. It was rough. Other than
you made me cry
Fritz.
down, Derek.
Other than Fritz, I think the mom was like the undercover villain in this movie because it seemed like at any point she could step in and stop
Hmm.
all the madness from happening. She just like, no, take it up with your dad. You know, that's what you do. You know, you guys are but you guys are grown men. But it was a really good movie. I wish Kerry actually was the size of Kerry.
Yeah,
That kind
that's
of
the only
threw it
thing
off.
that
Yeah,
distracted me too, Derek.
that threw it off a lot. Like you would see them, it's like David is so much bigger than him. I mean, Kevin is so much bigger than
Bigger
him.
than him. Yeah.
But it was a great movie. I enjoyed it. I'll probably watch it one more time.
Hmm.
Obviously not in theaters, but it was a good movie. And it's one of those movies where you don't have to know the story to enjoy it,
Yeah.
which is dope.
Can I suggest one thing? If when you see it again,
Hmm.
if you can watch the Dark Side of the Ring episode, The Last of the Von Erichs, right after that, it's a perfect companion piece.
Okay.
I watched. I saw Iron Claw in the theater 3 times.
Wow.
Um, I
He likes
saw
to be sad.
no
I was about
no
to
I
say.
I saw an advanced screening in November
Mhm.
on press only, so I couldn't take anyone. So I saw that by myself, and then I went to watch it with on a double date. But my girlfriend was sick, so it was a triple threat. And then when my girlfriend was well, I saw it again, so because she had to see it. And after I saw it for the third time, we watched the Von Erich, because it was a blank slate. She only knows wrestling only because she's been with me. So
Mhm.
I had to fill her in on everything about what she's gonna watch. And then we watched the Dark Side of the Ring, Last of the Von Erichs right afterwards. She was crying all over again, just with
Yeah.
that, because of so much that they left out. I had to tell her she didn't even know about Chris. I had to tell her about Chris,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that they left out of the film, and they kind of and
Um.
the
Go
whole
ahead. Go ahead.
Kerry losing his foot, because in the movie he wins the NWA championship finally, the one thing that his father couldn't have, and they have it. And then the next thing his foot is gone.
Yeah.
And she's like, that happened right after he won the title. I was like, no. It's about 2 years later, and they never said how he lost it. And it wasn't at night; it was broad daylight in the
I did
back
like
of a
it.
parked police car. And had he not
Yeah.
wanted, go ahead.
And I was gonna say my uncle, who grew up knowing the story, he took my aunt,
Mhm.
who knew nothing about it, and my aunt was just crying. I was talking to her about. I was like, and the worst part, Auntie Cheryl, is there's two more brothers, and she's like, I don't want to know. Like, I don't want to know about two other. That's more than enough. It's okay.
Yeah.
So it's funny how that movie dragged in other people who had nothing, who knew nothing about wrestling. And I know it didn't do good number wise, but I think that's because you released it during Christmas, and
Yeah.
that's not the type of movie you want to see
It was
during
a
the
nice,
holiday season.
feel-good holiday story. It
That's
was.
not the type of
It's,
movie.
it's about family. It's about
It's
family.
about
Yeah.
it's about family and being together during the holidays.
But if you watch the Dark Side of the Ring episode, they go into more in depth about Lance Von Erich, because I had to explain that. And I
Yeah.
found out later that 2 of MJF's scenes were cut. The
Yeah,
one
he said
where
that.
he was introduced to the family, the one in the ring that we saw, and the third scene that he was in was him asking for more money, and then leaving the company.
Oh, and I just want to reiterate, the movie is not about Lance Von Erich or Ric Flair. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, if he's not
It
the
really
best.
is not that important, even in the context of the NWA win. That's all you needed.
Yeah.
Move
That's it.
on. I
That's
don't
it.
know if you know this, but it's about some guy named Kevin.
That one of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Chris, did you see it, Chris?
I did not. I did not.
Are you planning to see it?
I'll catch it on something eventually.
You better do your due diligence.
Yeah, I'm over that.
Throw that in there. Woo! Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Since we're calling back things from
You know what?
last
If
12 years of doing this thing.
it's a, well, I got nothing else, man. If I had made that shirt right after, that would have been funny. I did not. Just just his smiling face. Due diligence.
Yeah.
Hey, that was as polite as he could have been. That was really good. Considering he pumped gas, came right back on the interview, and then you have not seen that match.
I haven't seen that match.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was like,
Not my finest hour. Still
not
not.
my fine. No, but yeah, you still have less than me.
Oh, Tully.
It's fine.
Totally.
Listen, when as long as I live, I will never. How I absolutely knew before calling him and talking to him that it was Tully Blanchard is when, like, he was my friend on Facebook for like a month and a half, and I told Dean, I'm like, I don't think that's really Tully. Why would Tully friend me? That doesn't make any sense. Unless I guess he saw me on a message board say something, and he was like, I like this guy. I don't know. And I messaged him out of the blue, and I said, is this Tully Blanchard? Is this really Tully Blanchard? And his reply was, well, who did you want it to be?
Oh.
And I said, fair enough.
Must be Tully Blanchard.
That would be Tully Blanchard,
This is him.
motherfucker. Hey, do you want to do an interview? Yep. And then we talk. I'm like, yeah, that's fucking Tully Blanchard. Holy shit. And really, that's pinnacle for me. I mean,
When I had Frank Caliendo on my podcast, and Steve gave me his number, and he said text, and I text, and okay, and then I called to set up and I said, wait, is this really Frank Caliendo? And he goes, why not?
there you go. Yeah. Yep. And people know me now where they go, they talk to me on the phone so many times, and they come into the office, they go, are you Dan? And I say, yes, unless you're upset, then my name's Joe. And they're like, nice. Okay. So, it's a signature. Well, it was nice to be together with you all again.
It was.
It only took a disgusting garbage human being
Dirty
for like,
old
yeah,
man.
right.
Get everyone back.
Yeah.
And it'd be a scandal.
I mean, Derek's welcome anytime. He just has I called it the other show when you said you were taking care of
Baby Dan.
the
The little Daniel.
He was the teething.
Yes.
Yeah, little almost Daniel, and that's not what I meant, but I'll never forgive you. I'll never forgive you. No, well, as soon as you said teething, you didn't make it. And I said on the show live, I said they fell asleep because what son doesn't want daddy there when something's trying to poke through your gums?
And he was like rubbing my face. And
yeah, and I'm like, listen, I'd say fuck you too. If it was Albert, I'd say fuck you guys. No offense, you understand? He's cute.
Yeah. He looks like, is that the little one that looks like a miniature Scooby / Scrappy Doo?
Yeah, everybody's saying that.
yeah.
It's the collar's not helping. And somebody said it at work today, and I went, and they laughed their ass off. I was like, see, Dan can do the Scooby laugh. That's the wow.
Yeah.
Omega Squad. Craig, we will catch up on the history. Some history dates on the next episode.
Okay, but 24 years ago today was the debut of the Radicals. So.
Oh shit!
Wow. Well, that was
Derek, if there's no teeth popping in 2 weeks, please come.
Yes.
I would love your perspective on the Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko and that other guy. And
yeah,
the tooth has broke through, so I think we're good.
Yeah, and this was the first time that Raw and Nitro were 300 miles apart. Raw was in Wilkes-Barre, and Nitro was in Wilkes-Barre, and Raw was in Pittsburgh.
That day, the first union arena.
How do you let all 4 of them go at the same time? That is
because they're fucking stupid.
To this day, just break them up. You 2 go, and you 2 have to wait. Something.
And Benoit was still champion.
Champion.
Yeah.
It's a wonder, people always say, I wonder why why did WCW really close?
Yeah, things like that.
The funny part, the ratings that night, 24 years ago, for Monday Night Raw Nitro, Nitro did a 2.8, Raw did a 6.6. 2.8 is something AEW would kill for now.
I was gonna say a 2.8. They were still doing 2 O's when they got canceled.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. On the same network that AEW is on now.
What the fuck?
Yeah. But 24 years ago, debut of the Radicals with the Z.
And we will I'm tired.
Something of that.
We'll do
something with that.
Next time.
We will
Revisit,
There it
No,
is.
there was another word. I can't, dude. I'm tired.
reconnoiter, rehash,
Reconnoiter, review.
reupholster.
I really forget it. Fuck it, Chris. Where can people follow you?
You can find me on Twitter or X, whatever the hell we're calling it, at Omega Squad.
Twix.
Twix.
I just
Twix.
came-
Twix.
Twix. I have a Twix downstairs with some goodies in it. Looks really good. And after the last 2 days, I think I'm going to do that. I almost did. Boys, if we were not doing this show tonight, I probably would have canceled another stream because it's just been a tough couple of weeks. Derek is not on social media. You can find him. You can say any reply to anything that you didn't like to the closest brick wall.
There it is. There it is. Oh, and I wanted to say congratulations to Jade Cargill because she's another one.
Wait,
She looked like she belonged.
hold on. How the fuck? Rewind all of that. Cut. I'm not editing. Cut.
Cut, he says.
That fucking pop. I don't know what anybody expected anyway. I really thought they were going to trick us and she wasn't coming. in
Oh,
the
I knew
first
this was
place.
it.
And
I knew she was coming.
boom, boom. I am so happy. And you saw, I don't know if you guys saw pictures, her daughter and husband were there watching too.
Mhm.
And the daughter was just having a time.
Yeah.
And I thought, I am so glad you mentioned it because my point was of all that disgusting, terrible shit that was
Mhm.
breaking that weekend, and the weekend technically ended with a daughter watching her otherwise 20 years ago wouldn't have been anywhere near that ring in the main event of a main event type match, smiling and screaming and jumping up and down with her father, with Jade Cargill debuting. We know, I really do feel in another 10 years we're gonna be going, how did AEW let you go?
I mean, if you just, not to keep going, but if you look when she had this stare down with Bianca Belair and the
No,
place,
what's-
everybody, and this is the woman that they hit on their secondary show the whole time she was there. It's
That's
like,
her fault, guys. Some white guy said so on Twitter. It's because she's not good.
and I like that they're being patient with her. They're not just throwing her out there. Like I said, if in order for her to get better, just put on the house shows with Natty, have her learn with Natty while she's on the road, and take it from there.
Well, that's how I knew
Elsa's
she was
mad
going to.
there.
Yeah, that's how I knew she was going to be in the Rumble, because that way you can hide her flaws.
Yeah.
And why, when she debuted she came to WWE 6 months ago, and she just now having her first match because NXT had to break down everything
yeah.
that was taught to her in AEW, where she was spoon-fed everything, and they gave her the Goldberg streak on their second-rate show, and they had a whole separate women's division that didn't include her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she never touched any of the top women at
Nope.
all.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
But
And
she
who
comes
here wouldn't want to touch any of the top women with
I-
consent?
yes.
There you go.
Touch them right now. But yeah, but yes. So now take it away, Dan. Take two.
Hey, Chris, where
sorry.
can people follow you?
You can follow me on Twitter or X at Omega Squad.
Twix.
Twix.
I remembered. Twix.
Twix.
Derek, if anybody wants to complain about Derek, you just find closest brick wall and go tell
Brick
that
wall.
one.
There you
Brick
go.
wall closest. Go talk to it. Because he's the smart one here and things fuck all about your opinion. Craig, where can people follow you?
They can follow me and my Batman hoodie that no one complimented about. I'm
I
sorry.
see you, Craig. I
But
see you.
No, I'm sorry. I said
I see.
Batman hoodie. It's a Batman onesie.
There you go.
Great.
It's a Batman choice.
It's a yeah.
Batman choice. So you can follow me in my Batman onesie on Twix, on Facebook, and on Twinstagram at Craig Ligon, CraigLiggeons.
You can follow me on Twix, Facebook, Twinstagram, Blue Sky, and Twive.
There you go. You did it. You proud of yourself?
Got
You
it?
did it.
No, I'm not. That's my accomplishment for this week. Great.
And Twinge.
Twinge. Twinge. Twinder.
There it is. Grinder.
Twitch. Twick.
Twitch.
Twoob. Goodbye. Keep it on the paper. Go fuck yourself, Mr. Man.